Welcome to the Mystery and History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. On December 8, 1980, John Lennon was assassinated by Mark David Chapman in front of the Dakota Building in New York City. That day, Lennon had just returned from a recording session with Yoko Ono. Richard Lasher was on his way to ride his motorcycle when Mount St. Helens erupted in 1980. He survived one of the most devastating eruptions in United States history. Collision between two trains. Bay of Quinte Railway, Ontario, Canada, 1892. In 1892, two trains collided on the Bay of Quinte Railway in Canada, resulting in one of the most notable railway accidents of the time. In 1933, at the height of the Great Depression, a Hooverville shantytown was established in Central Park, New York City. These makeshift settlements appeared in various cities across the United States during the 1929 crisis, when millions lost their jobs and were forced to live on the streets. A worker takes a break during the construction of the iconic Chrysler building. New York, 1930. Amid the rising skyscrapers, he rests on a steel beam hundreds of feet above the ground. Italian traveler Attilio Gatti, accompanied by two local men and a gorilla taken for exhibition in what was then the Belgian Congo in 1930. The image shows the group posing outdoors with clothing and equipment characteristic of early 20th century expeditions. Corporal Jackie, a baboon that served with the South African Army during World War I, photographed in 1915. The animal was adopted by a military unit and received a uniform, basic training, and even insignia, becoming a known figure among the members of the group. The image shows Jackie properly dressed in a disciplined position alongside his human companions. During the hyperinflation in Germany, the mark lost almost all its value. Banknotes became so worthless they were turned into fabric, toys, and even wallpaper. In 1945, Betty Fox, a fearless aeronaut, gave an impressive performance on the roof of the Fort Shelby Hotel in Michigan. She was one of the pioneers in aviation, a field largely dominated by men, and her courage and skill made her a remarkable figure. In 1937, a photo was taken in Germany showing 30 people standing on the roof of an Auto Union DKW F7. The purpose was to demonstrate the strength of the car's wooden body as an advertising stunt. A solitary African-American man observes a public event held in Jackson, Mississippi in the year 1950. The scene was recorded as part of a historic moment that reflects the social and cultural aspects of the era. The photograph is part of collections that document life in the United States during the mid-20th century. Restaurant located at the top of the former World Trade Center, photographed in 1980, known as Windows on the World. Situated on the highest floors of the North Tower, the space offered a panoramic view of New York City, becoming one of the most visited spots by residents and tourists. The image shows the elegant setting, with tables arranged near the large windows. A woman being pulled while seated in a rickshaw in Chinatown, Los Angeles, probably in the 1930s. The rickshaw was a common means of transportation in areas with a strong Asian presence. 1912, passengers exercise in the gym of the Franconia ship. This Cunard Line cruise ship was destroyed by a submarine in 1916. The gym featured mechanical equipment of the time, such as stationary bicycles and rowing machines. March 5, 1953. The Marine Angel ship on the Chicago River. Measuring an impressive 600 feet in length and 69 feet in width, the freighter Marine Angel navigated the narrow Chicago River in a complex and daring maneuver. In 1975, Mr. Tin was more legend than soldier. It was said he repaired tanks with his bare hands and listened to the war radio without headphones. No one knew his real name, but everyone remembered the sound of the metal plates he carried in his vest. Czechoslovak railway workers thawing tracks with a jet engine. During a heavy snowstorm in 1970, they used a MiG-15 engine. The powerful turbine of the Soviet fighter jet served as an improvised heater. The Beatles rooftop concert, London, 1969. On January 30th, 1969, the Beatles went up to the rooftop of the Apple Corps headquarters on Savile Row, London, for what would be their last live performance. Marilyn Monroe performing on stage before thousands of soldiers. During the Korean War in 1954, she visited American military bases in South Korea and gave shows for more than 100,000 troops. Marilyn Monroe promotes the Milk Fund for Babies campaign, 1957. In 1957, Marilyn Monroe took part in a charity campaign for the Milk Fund for Babies, which raised money to provide milk for underprivileged children. Sophia Loren, 1954. At only 20 years old, the Italian actress was already drawing attention for her beauty and talent. This was a decisive year for her film career, marking the beginning of her international rise. Ava Gardner, photographed in 1946, appears in a portrait that shows the beginning of her rise in the film industry. The image shows the actress in an elegant pose, with clothing and hairstyle typical of the time, conveying the style that would become her trademark. During this period, she was already attracting attention for her talent and presence in front of the cameras. The iconic Mexican actress of the Golden Age, Maria Felix, in 1954. Known as La Doña, Maria Felix was one of the greatest stars of Latin American cinema. Her striking beauty and strong personality made her a symbol of elegance and independence in Mexico and beyond. Rita Hayworth and Burt Lancaster, photographed in 1958, appear together in a moment of relaxed interaction. The image captures two of Hollywood's most recognizable faces, gathered at a social event or possibly during promotional activities related to cinema. The clothing and style reflect the elegance characteristic of the 1950s. Sylvester Stallone and Brigitte Nielsen were one of the most talked about couples of the 1980s. They met during the filming of Rocky IV's 1985, in which Nielsen played Ludmila Drago, the wife of Soviet boxer Ivan Drago. Pelé, at 17 years old, photographed in Sweden shortly before the start of the 1958 World Cup. The image shows the young athlete in a moment of preparation and concentration, representing Brazil in his first participation in an international tournament of that magnitude. His uniform and posture reflect the expectations surrounding the team that year. Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 1970s. At the height of his rise as a bodybuilder, he was already a multiple-time Mr. Olympia champion. His charisma and impressive physique made him a legend even before Hollywood. In 1941, Albert Einstein was photographed playing his violin, an instrument he deeply loved. He used it to relax and reflect on his scientific work. The first Tour de France took place in 1903 and was won by Maurice Garin. The race covered about 1,509 miles, divided into 6 stages. In 1977, Linda Carter, famous for playing Wonder Woman, married Ron Samuels. The wedding took place at the height of her television fame. Patrick "Two-Brick" Swayze appears alongside the cast of the film The Outsiders in 1983. The production, based on the novel by S.E. Hinton, brought together young actors who would later become major names in cinema. The photograph captures the group in a relaxed moment, probably during filming breaks or promotional sessions, allowing a glimpse of the costumes and setting used in the movie. Susan Dey, around 1970. The American actress became famous in the early 1970s for her role as Laurie Partridge in the TV series The Partridge Family, with her classic look and youthful charm. Cheryl Ladd in 1977. The American actress and singer became famous for playing Chris Monroe in the series Charlie's Angels. She replaced Farrah Fawcett in the second season and quickly won over audiences with her charisma and the striking style of the 1970s. In the 1980s, Catherine O'Hara began to stand out as a Canadian actress and comedian, known for her versatility. She gained popularity for her work in comedy films and major productions. Marion Cotillard, French actress recognized for her work in theater, television, and cinema, in a record from the 2000s. The image shows the artist at a high point in her career, a period in which she was landing significant roles and expanding her international recognition. Her elegant look and confident expression reflect the striking presence that made her a cultural reference. Miss Universe Ella Van Heusen, portrayed around June 16, 1928. At that time, the pageant brought together representatives from various countries, celebrating customs, clothing, and traditions from different cultures. The image shows the participant in an official moment, recorded to document that edition of the event and preserve the memory of the first decades of the 20th century. Prototype lunar spacesuit created by Republic Aviation Corporation, United States, March 16, 1960. The suit was designed to withstand the extreme conditions of the lunar surface. This testing phase preceded the Apollo missions and explored innovative ideas. Astronauts Thomas P. Stafford and Eugene A. Cernan are seen seated in the Gemini spacecraft with the hatches open on June 6, 1966. The image shows the two members of the Gemini 9A mission during preparations and checks moments before proceeding with the scheduled operations. It is possible to observe details of the interior of the capsule and the spacesuits used. Scientists studying the phases of the moon using models, 1962. The preparation was part of the efforts for the United States manned mission to the moon. These studies helped in planning the landing and navigation during the Apollo program. The Mobot, or mobile robot, is a remarkable invention often associated with robotics and automation studies and experiments. Although the term Mobot can refer to various mobile robots throughout history, it is most commonly linked to a model developed in the 1940s and 50s during the early robotics experiments. In 1955, 4.5 megabytes of data were stored on 62,500 punched cards. This was a common method of data storage and input for computers such as the WWII and the IBM 704. Gym machines for back strengthening, designed by Dr. Gustav Sander in Stockholm, Sweden in the year 1892. These pieces of equipment were part of a pioneering set created to assist in physical conditioning in a controlled manner. They were considered some of the first mechanical exercise devices used in specialized centers. Icebreakers push a large block of ice to open a passage in McMurdo Sound, Antarctica, on December 29, 1965. The scene shows the vessels maneuvering in a coordinated way to allow safe passage through a strategic sea route. The operation was essential to ensure access to research stations in the polar region. In 1969, the General Motors assembly line was at the peak of the United States automotive industry, reflecting the boom of mass production and the high demand for vehicles. This period marked the dominance of American cars in the global market, with companies such as GM, Ford, and Chrysler leading production and technological innovations in the automotive sector. In 1973, a common scene in Seattle showed an electric AMC Gremlin being charged at a curbside charging station with the cost of only 25 cents for a charge. The AMC Gremlin was one of the first compact cars produced by the American Motors Corporation, AMC, and the electric model, although an experimental version, signaled the beginning of research and experimentation with electric vehicles. Urban electric car by General Motors being charged, 1973. In the background on the left is the Sundancer, an electric model from EBS. In the 1970s, amid the oil crisis, the first investments in electric mobility began to appear. Messerschmitt Kabinenroller, a microcar produced in Germany in 1954. The vehicle, with a compact design and enclosed cabin, attracted attention for its aerodynamic shape and the fact that it seated two people in seats arranged one behind the other. The image shows the model parked, allowing observation of details of its bodywork and wraparound windshield. The Hoover Dam under construction, photographed in 1934, reveals the grandeur of one of the largest engineering projects of the 20th century in the United States. Located on the border between the states of Nevada and Arizona, the work involved thousands of workers and specialized machinery to build the structure that would become an architectural landmark. In the image, it is possible to see the imposing concrete wall taking shape in the middle of the canyon. The Old Penn Station in New York City, photographed during its period of operation between 1910 and 1963, displayed grand architecture inspired by classical styles. With imposing columns, spacious halls, and glass vaults, the station was one of the main gateways to the city, receiving thousands of passengers daily. Between 1897 and 1930, the city of Seattle, in the state of Washington, underwent a significant hill leveling process to facilitate urban growth and infrastructure development. During this period, Seattle experienced rapid urban expansion and population growth, especially after the construction of the Transcontinental Railroad and the boom of the timber industry. A family living in a house made inside a tree stump with a diameter of 23 feet in 1901. This unusual dwelling was built within the trunk of a massive felled tree. This type of structure was common in forested regions of the United States and Canada. Automated delivery system at the drive-in, The Track. Los Angeles, 1949. This innovative restaurant used metal tracks to deliver orders to customers' cars without them having to leave the vehicle. A combination of television, radio, and built-in bar, 1951. This multifunctional furniture piece was a symbol of post-war luxury and innovation, blending technology and home entertainment into a single impressive unit. In 1920, a gas station in Washington, D.C. represented the post-World War I era when the automobile was becoming popular. Cars were becoming a symbol of freedom and mobility, especially with the mass production of the Model T. Log trucks in North Bend, Washington, 1943, United States. During World War II, the timber industry was vital for building housing, ships, and military structures. Transworld Airlines, TWA service at the airport, photo taken in 1958 in New York. TWA was one of the leading airlines in the United States until 2001, known for its elegant international flights and customer service. Simple Fun in 1944 in the United Kingdom, recorded in the neighborhood of Withamshaw in Greater Manchester. The image shows residents enjoying outdoor leisure moments with games and community activities that strengthened the bonds between neighbors. Despite the limitations of the time, the scene conveys the importance of maintaining traditions and social gatherings. Female workers take a lunch break in Iowa, United States in the year 1943. The image shows the group gathered outdoors, enjoying the break to talk and rest before returning to their activities. The clothing and accessories reflect the practical and functional style of the time. A couple relaxes on the banks of the River Seine in Paris, France in the year 1949. The scene shows the two sitting near the water, enjoying a moment of tranquility amid the urban landscape. In the background, it is possible to see part of Parisian architecture, with its bridges and historic buildings. The record captures a simple moment of daily life in the French capital, reflecting the charm and atmosphere of the city in the post-40s period. Children take part in an educational activity at the Hester Howe Holiday School in Toronto, Canada on July 29, 1913. The image shows a group of students gathered while learning in a guided way how to perform basic personal hygiene care, including the correct way to blow their nose. The scene reflects the focus of schools at the time on combining academic learning with health habits. Frankfurt sausage inspector, photographed in 1927 during a quality inspection at a local factory. The image shows the professional carefully analyzing the production, ensuring that each item met the required standards for sale. This role was essential to maintain the city's reputation, known for its traditional products. The First Ukrainian Front of the Red Army marches through the streets of Kiev in November 1943 after the recapture of the city. The scene shows organized columns of soldiers passing through avenues marked by historic buildings, while residents observe the moment. In August 1945, Mao Zedong and Chiang Kai-shek were photographed celebrating Japan's surrender. This historic milestone marked the end of World War II in Asia and was a moment of great significance for China. 8-cylinder percussion revolver, created by Joseph Enui and dated 1855. The image shows the piece in detail, revealing the metallic finish, the crafted handle, and the characteristic mechanism of percussion firing technology common in the period. It is an example of ingenious design applied to the manufacture of 19th century equipment. With her husband absent due to the historical context of 1944, a mother is photographed taking care of the family car. The image shows the woman performing maintenance on the vehicle, something that until then was more commonly done by men. The setting and clothing reflect the daily life of that decade, marked by adaptations in domestic life. High school hippie girl photographed in 1969. The image shows a young woman wearing clothes and accessories characteristic of the cultural movement of the time, with colorful fabrics and bold patterns. This style represented an ideal of freedom, individual expression, and connection with new forms of art and music. The late 1960s were marked by social changes and the strengthening of youth movements. In 1963, the 50 millionth Chevrolet rolled off the assembly line at the GM plant in Tarrytown, New York. This event symbolized the brand's success and its role in the American automotive industry. In the 1920s, a farmer listening to the radio while milking his cow reflected the transition to a more modern society. The radio allowed even rural areas to have access to news, music, and entertainment. Learning to ride a bicycle around 1895 on a quiet street with buildings typical of the time. The image shows a person being assisted in the first movements while holding the handlebars and trying to maintain balance. The bicycle model reflects the characteristic design of the late 19th century with a sturdy frame and large wheels. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, please use the Super Thanks tool below. Your contribution helps us keep bringing you amazing historical content. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next video.